Yo, what's going on, guys? And today we're doing my off-season primer preview before the lottery. As you guys know, once the lottery comes, we'll do my full-on predictions on what I think will happen. But let's talk about the Toronto Raptors. Before we start today's preview for the Raptors, I want to hear in the comment section, what do you think is the biggest areas or biggest priorities that the Raptors need to address, and what would you do? So hit that like and subscribe button. I want to hear your feedback. It'll help me set up my predictions in a few weeks. So let's get right into it. So the Toronto Raptors, 25-57 they went this year, and this year they decided to retool. I wouldn't say they're rebuilding, because I really think they went out and got their building blocks. They have a center in Jakob Poeltl. I think they have Scotty Barnes and RJ Barrett. I think they have Emmanuel Quickley. I mean, they need to resign Emmanuel Quickley, but I think they have Grady Dick. They have Ochai Agbaji. I think they have a core group of guys that make sense. Now they need continuity. So right now they have the 6th overall pick, which obviously we don't know where it's going to land, as they do have a 9% odd of getting the number 1 pick, and they also have 45% odds to retain the pick where they're at. They also have the 19th pick through Indiana, and then they have the 31st pick through Detroit. And I think that's the biggest part of this, is that when you look at this situation, I think for me, understanding that the Raptors, the reason why they were this bad is they realized they needed to to refresh everything, and they decided to pull the plug on the whole idea of Vision 6-9 with OG, Scotty, and Pascal, and they moved forward. Bruce Brown has a team option I think they'll pick up. Jordan Wara is a free agent. So is Malik Williams, who's a restricted. So is Emmanuel Quickley, a restricted. Then Garrett Temple and Gary Trent are all, unrestricted. I think Gary Trent might walk. I mean, maybe they'll sign and trade him, but the Raptors also own their first round pick. If it stays in the top 6, they'll retain it. If the pick falls outside the top 6, they have to send it to San Antonio. So for the third time in 4 years, Toronto enters the offseason without, a playoff appearance. And the foundation of Fred VanVleet, OG Anunoby, and Pascal is gone. It's been replaced by Emmanuel Quickley, RJ Barrett, and Scotty Barnes. I mean, they flipped Anunoby and Siakam for Emmanuel Quickley, RJ Barrett, Kelly Olynyk, Ochai Agbaji, and fused draft picks. The Raptors won 9-32 after the Siakam trade and finished with their fewest wins since 2011 to 2012. And Masai Ujiri said this isn't a rebuild or a reset, but they want to do this in a 3 to 5 year process. They don't want a 5 to 6 year process. They have a stockpile of draft picks, arguably now not a stockpile, but they have draft picks, and they have a good core of young guys that they're in a similar position to the Pacers when they rebuilded after they traded DeMontis Sabonis for Tyrese Haliburton instead of the All-Star Haliburton. To build around, the Raptors have Scotty Barnes, Emmanuel Quickley, RJ Barrett, Jakob Poeltl, Grady Dick, Ochai Agbaji, Kelly Olynyk to give them a foundation, and they also have $40 million in expiring contracts, Brown and Chris Boucher, to use in a trade if they want to, or wait till the deadline. They can also enter free agency with $32 million in cap space if they really wanted to. So with all that being said, let's go look into what the teams, financially speaking, looks like as of now, or I guess we would say the future. So looking at the offseason finances, the Raptors are going to have cap space for the first time since 2015 if they were to decline Bruce Brown. But I feel like they're going to pick up Bruce Brown's option and then potentially trade him to a contender. If they were to decline the option, it's going to be $26 million in room. Emmanuel Quickley has a $12.5 million salary cap hold. If they were going to use, they can use cap space before re-signing the guards. So they can go out, get into, spend all their cap space, and then use the bird rights to extend him, as he will be a restricted free agent. And it's, not just the restricted, he has bird rights and restricted free agency, so they can go over the cap. Now, not including a new contract for Quickley, the Raptors have $93 million guaranteed in salary. If the Raptors remain over the cap, they have a $12.9 million non-taxpayer mid-level exception. and a $4.7 million biennial exception. The Raptors also have two trade exceptions, $10.2 million and a $1.6 million. And they also have $8 million room mid-level exception that they can operate as a cap space team. So for me, don't expect the team to lose their starting point guard in free agency again. Emmanuel quickly basically became almost a 19-point per game scorer with 8 assists, like 4 or 5 rebounds a game. Like Emmanuel quickly legitimately went from being a 6-man combo guard to a facilitator for the Raptors. And I think it's worth extending him, because even if it doesn't work out as your future point guard, you have a guy who can at the very least be your future trade asset to a good team, because guys like him are always going to be in demand. So for me, I'm not surprised that this is the case with a guy like Emmanuel quickly, that he's going to get the opportunity to be the starting point guard, which I think he's deserving of. And quickly is a restricted free agent, and if they don't want to pay him long term, Toronto just can give him the 1 year $8.5 million qualifying offer. If he doesn't like the deal, and if they don't like the deal, they can tell him, hey, let's play out a 1 year deal, see how it goes, and then we can reconvene and negotiate a new deal down the road. But I think the good part is if a team does give him a contract that he accepts, like maybe they don't want to be the ones who put a finger on his value, and he decides like, hey, I think you guys said you will resign me to whatever I get offered. I got offered this, and you guys have the first right to match it. And they see like, oh, cool, this is a 4-year, $65 million deal. Cool, we didn't offer you this. This is another team, so we're willingly paying this. I can see that happening. Again, he averaged 7 assists, not 8 assists, 7 assists, 18.6 points. The Raptors averaged 114.1 points per 100 possessions and more, plus 2.9 with Emmanuel quickly sharing the floor with RJ Barrett and Barnes. A 4-year, $109 million deal is what I'm hearing, with a starting salary of $24.5 million, would put quickly in the middle of the pack among starting point guards. And I've heard he wants somewhere near $25 million. I said the $65 million thing as if some team lowballed him. And the average starting point guard salary in 24 to 25 is going to be $27.8 million. And the Raptors also, like we've talked about all the video, have to decide if Bruce Brown's $23 million is going to be used as a trade chip, or they rather use, create cap space. I'd rather use him as a trade chip, because then you create cap space. And Brown averaged 9.6 points, but only shot 31.7% from 3. Because the minimum salary rule, the Raptors need to spend at least $126.9 million of the salary cap by the first day of the regular season to get to the salary cap floor. So expect Scotty Barnes to join Pascal Siakam, Chris Bosh, and Vince Carter as the only Raptors in Toronto history to sign a rookie extension. And Barnes is eligible to sign a 5-year, $225 million max deal that could increase to $269 if all NBA language isn't negotiated in it. Before breaking his hand in March 1st, Barnes was averaging 19.9 points, 8.2 rebounds, 6.1 assists. His 3-point shot went from 28% to 34%. And Barnes was one of 4 players this season with multiple games of 30 points, 3 blocks, 3 steals, along with Anthony Davis, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and Victor Wembanyama. That's great company to be with. Now, the other candidate is Gary Trent, who could be extended till June 30th, and I would not be surprised if they extend him and then trade him. Chris Boucher could be extended as well. I expect them to trade him. This team needs a backup point guard. They have the starting point guard, and then they just need kind of like a microwave, like what Gary Trent used to be. And the Raptors could go with a combination of Liberty, Freeman, and Brown behind quickly. Liberty Freeman started 4 games and averaged 12.5 points, and the Raptors ranked 28th in 3-point percentage. They did bring in Ochai Agbaji, and they have Grady Dick, so I think, having that, the 3-point shooting is huge. And I know Ochai ended the season not doing anything too crazy, but this is a team that, if they do have the top 6 pick, this is hard. I think they're either, they're going to go wing. If they have the 6th overall pick, for example, you go first pick, let's say it's Alex Sarr. Second pick is maybe Zach Rissache, and then Zachary Rissache, then maybe like Topich, Cody Williams, and Ron Holland are gone. I mean, Buzelis could really be a guy they go for, but do they need another power forward? I think they need shooting. Do they go for a Reed Shepherd? That's where I wondered. And if Toronto does send the 2024 first to San Antonio, then the Raptors would be able to trade the 25. And they also have like the that 16-17 pick, and they can get a shooter back there if they don't want to get a shooter up at the top. So I think they're in a decent position. It's not like they're screwed by any means. So I want to hear your guys' thoughts in the comment section. If you made it to the end of the video, what do you expect from the Toronto Raptors and why? I think they're a team that's definitely in an interesting position, as their future is largely dependent on this offseason going fairly well, as I think, like I said, they want to be like the Pacers. So if they want to be like the Pacers, I think for them, they need more wing play. I think they need another point guard. They need to find their Andrew Nemhard to join Emmanuel quickly. And yeah, I think there's a few things that you need to define.